Hey, I'm Ethan Burke with Irongate Realtors, and I'm here today with...
Rhonda Chambal, owner of Irongate.
Very cool.
And selling agent.
So you own this brokerage, or you own, how much of it do you own?
I own the entire brokerage. So
that's cool.
7 offices, 270 agents today.
Dang. So how'd that start?
How did Irongate start, or my ownership?
Both.
Irongate's been around for 50 years. It's our 50th anniversary. So local brokerage started in Centerville at what is still our Centerville office. There were a bunch of owners at that time. Through the years, it dwindled down to just 2 owners, Steve Brown and Greg Gillen, and they sold me the company in April of 2021. Steve Brown is still on board as our broker of record.
Okay. So was it just time for them to get out of it, or did they switch career fields, or...?
No. Well, Steve is still here and selling, and Greg semi-retired, but still flipping houses and selling as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Is that something you wanted from the beginning, was just own the whole thing, or did that just kind of come up and you took the opportunity?
No, that just kind of came up. And the story is I was at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services for 10 years. I came to Irongate in January of 20. And at that point, I quickly realized that there were a lot of things that were different than what I was accustomed to being at a franchise. Mainly, when I showed up, there were file folders with paper in them, and that's what you turned in to do your transaction. And at my previous company, we had been paperless using .loop for quite a while, and I was selling a lot of real estate, so paper wasn't going to work. At that point, just started talking with the owners about changes that I felt would be beneficial. We were able to get .loop implemented as the system that the company used very quickly within that year, and then started having conversations with them regarding taking ownership, and that took a while to actually happen. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. So you just came in and just updated everything that was just archaic.
Yes, and I don't want to say archaic, but it's taken really, this year is the first year that I feel like we have things where I wanted them. When I took ownership, I had a giant Google Doc of everything that I felt needed to be done, from updating marketing to systems, back end, just services we were providing to agents. And we've accomplished pretty much all of those at this point. So that's why you're seeing some growth now. I thought it was irresponsible to try to grow the company before we were in a solid position just with everything we already had going.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so just recently we opened that 7th office in Eaton and looking forward to more growth in the future.
That's cool. So how do you know when it's time to open up another office? Just when you have enough people?
Yes, enough people. And kind of the guideline that I tell agents is, hey, if you've got a group of 5 agents at least who are in a particular location, talk to me. And that's kind of what happened with Eaton. There were a group of 7 agents from another brokerage who were interested in coming over. And so it made sense at that point to open an office.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's a little risky to do the build it and they will come theory.
Yeah.
So I'm hesitant to do that.
So the most recent one you guys built was, or at least took over, was out in Eaton?
Eaton. Yes, which is our first office in Preble County. That building, I love the office. It was a house built in 1905, so required a lot of renovation, which was fun to kind of oversee that project, and it really fits in with the community. And actually this weekend is the Pork Festival in Eaton, and we are right on the parade route, so I know the office there is doing something for the community.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So where's the next office going to open?
I need 5 agents. There are definitely areas that I would love to have an office, parts of Dayton that are growing, but at this point I don't have the 5 people I need.
Makes sense. You got to be the 5 right people too, I assume. Can't just be anyone.
Yeah, we don't need 5 people who don't sell anything. That doesn't help. Yeah.
So you got any advice for first-time home buyers?
First-time home buyers. I would recommend using a local realtor who can guide you through the process. It's not something that you just want to Google or try to watch videos on and then tackle yourself. There are lots of local nuances. I was just with buyers this week who really believed that they had all of the information they needed before they got here, and then quickly learned just going through houses, just different things that we have here that you don't have in other parts of the country, or how things work. So an experienced realtor can really be a good source of education and helping you in that decision-making process.
I think that's a good take. And especially if people come from another state, because the laws might just be slightly different.
Yes.
When I was studying for the real estate exam, one of the things I would do is when I was driving around, I would pop up a YouTube video from somebody who recorded their real estate class, and I would just listen to it and just kind of passively pick it up as I'm going around doing stuff. And the guy I was listening to recorded his videos. He was in North Carolina, and he threw out some of the information that was specific to North Carolina, and he actually brought that up. I was like, oh, it's kind of investment properties. Do you have any?
I do not. I used to have some. I'm honestly very busy at this point in time, so I don't have any. I think it's a great way to build wealth. And when people ask me if they should keep, if they're moving out of state and they ask, hey, should I keep this as a rental or sell it? One of my questions is, hey, do you see owning rental properties as part of your long-term financial plan? If it is, great. Or if the market is down and it makes sense to rent until the market comes back up so you don't lose money, great. For other people who are just, maybe just going to have one, I don't know that I recommend that just based on the hassle factor. And I work with a lot of military families, and I've unfortunately been the agent who's had to go in. The sellers live out of state. They send me in to see what the house looks like after the tenants have moved. And I've been the one to deliver the bad news and then manage a reconstruction project. So things can go south with that if you don't have a good property manager in place.
Have you ever done property management?
No, and I would not do property management. No, that is not something I'm interested in doing. Of course, at Irongate, we do have a great property management division. Those are people that love it, and that is their interest. I really think property managers, it is a special skill that they have in order to relate to both the landlords and the tenants. And property management is great because it's a steady stream of income. You're not waiting on commission checks from closing. You get that little bit each month, and that can really add up. For people that scale it and have 400 or 500 rentals, it could be a huge opportunity.
It's definitely something I'm looking into, eating into. I don't remember the person's name. I have it written down, but Brett recommended somebody. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You recommended somebody that does it here, so I could team up with them.
Yeah.
Because I have one rental property right now. Okay. Over in Brookville, I have a duplex.
Okay.
But I'm managing it myself, and so far, nothing's gone wrong.
Okay, that's good.
It's always easy when nothing goes wrong.
Right.
So it'd be nice if I'm doing that for other people to actually have somebody I can go and talk to who's done it for years and knows exactly what to do.
Right.
So I'm willing to split the commission and pay for the experience for that. I think that's pretty important.
It's a good idea.
So you don't invest in real estate yourself. Do you invest in anything else, stocks or anything?
Yes. Yeah. I have a financial planner who takes care of all of that. I do think for agents, it's important to plan. Many agents are shocked by quarterly tax bills that first time around when they start making money. And there are lots of ways that you can stash away money tax-free. Solo 401k is the one that I recommend because you can put the most amount of money in there. It's more complicated to set up, but for high-producing agents, can be a great tool.
Very cool. Do you know if that's one you can actually borrow money from and invest?
I don't know if you can. I've never done that. I don't know if you can or not.
So I know that was, I was speaking to someone who sold life insurance at one point. They were saying there's a specific type of life insurance you can actually borrow money against and use that to buy real estate with. Eventually, it takes a long time for it to actually build up to that point.
Right.
But that's an interesting way to do it because you're investing the money, so you're not. I don't know if it's taxed when it goes in that or not, because it's life insurance. But at least when you're borrowing the money for yourself, it's not. So.
I think one of your questions was how I got started in real estate.
Yeah.
That's a story I always tell. So, I was actually almost 39 when I got licensed. And I had been home with 3 kids, plus I watched my sister's 2 kids. So I had 5 kids under 6 for a while there. My youngest was getting ready to go to kindergarten, and I thought, I really kind of need a change. So we'd done some investing in properties, and being in the military, had moved around, bought and sold a lot of houses. And I thought, okay, I'm going to get my real estate license and this could be something part-time I could do while the kids were in school. So I got my license in June of '09. At the time, it was unusual for agents even to have websites. Only your top producing agents had websites. But my background had been in computer-based training and some web development. So I really felt that was important. So out of the gate, before I even had my license, I paid to have a nice website done. It's still the same. I'm still with the same website company today, 16 years later. But I had the website ready to go. I launched. '09 wasn't the greatest time to get into real estate. The market had kind of tanked. I was naive and didn't even realize that. A lot of agents were getting out of the business. But I started going to the office when the kids were at school, and there was this parking spot in the front of the building for the top agent. And there was a plaque in the front lobby that had top leader of every month. And I'm a little bit competitive. So I was like, maybe someday I could have the parking spot or I could be the top person. So it quickly went from what was going to be a part-time hobby to what became a lifestyle. If you're going to sell real estate at a high level, unless you have a team, it's a pretty much 24/7 thing. Don't know that I would recommend that to younger agents starting. Work-life balance, non-existent for most of my career. Not a great thing, but yeah, that's my story.
So as far as team versus solo agent, what's your opinion on that?
It really just depends on your needs. For me, I'm a control freak, so I like to manage things. I have systems where I can manage a high number of transactions and keep everything, for the most part, straight and do what I need to do. Some agents aren't good with the organization or the back end part, and it would help to have a transaction coordinator. I like to be hands-on, so I don't want to be a team leader, but I think there are a lot of successful teams, and we have many at Irongate who have the team leader who doles out the leads. They have the buyer's agents. Maybe they have a specialized listing agent and transaction coordinator. For newer agents, I think a team can be a good opportunity, especially for one that doesn't have a sphere of influence or doesn't feel like they can get business themselves. Being on a team with a team leader that's providing those opportunities can be an advantage.
That was something I was thinking about. I've been solo this whole time, and it is kind of nice to be able to control everything and know exactly what's going on where and if something got done or not.
Right.
But I think it could be beneficial. So I was thinking about it, but I'm still not quite sure.
Being a team member or a team leader?
Team member.
Team member.
Yeah.
The other disadvantage to being a team member is that you're building somebody else's business and you're not building your own.
Makes sense.
So when you're on a team, the team leader is getting all the credit for the sales, the signs are in their names, advertising is in their name. There are a couple teams in Dayton where the team members do kind of have a name for themselves as well. But for the most part, you're working for the team leader. And then at some point, if you decide to break off, then you have to kind of start from zero again on trying to build your name recognition. It's a trade-off for sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I think an agent who can make it on their own should stay on their own. If you can't make it on your own, then a team's a good option.
Especially makes sense for newer agents. I had a friend back when I used to work at Coldwell. He started when he was 18.
Oh, wow.
So, it was good and bad. It'll be cool in 10 years when he's 28 to be able to say, I've got 10 years of experience. But at the time, nobody really trusted him to do anything
Sure.
because he's a young guy. He
Right.
doesn't have a whole lot of experience. And he's trying to talk to these people in their 30s and 40s trying to buy a house. A lot of them didn't take him seriously, even though he did know what he was doing.
Right.
So he ended up joining a team over at, I think it was Berkshire.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think he's doing pretty well over there. I need to
Yeah.
check back in with him.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
Oh, yeah, especially that situation, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good,
for sure.
good idea.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good way for him to actually get a bunch of transactions under his belt, really know what he's doing, and then when it's time for him to break off, he's gonna do really well. If you're listing a house for somebody, what do you do that other agents might not do?
Out of the gate, I'm honest with them. So I pride myself on doing a lot of research. I'm studying the comps. I'm doing that above grade to above grade square footage. I'm presenting the information to them. And especially in a market, not really today's market, but a market where pricing is a little more difficult, just having those hard conversations with sellers. I would rather be honest at the table at the beginning than have to go back to somebody later and say, hey, yeah, I made a mistake. We need to do this or that. But then I'm also very honest about getting the house prepped for pictures. Pictures are the most important part of the listing. So we go through the house. I tell them what needs to be put away, just tips and tricks. I will hire the stager to come over, Ellen Henderson, if need be, and she can help them. Or if it's a vacant house, I always pay for vacant staging. My photographer, she has been with me for most of my career, so I trust her and the photos. With every listing, I do Zillow Showcase. That is something we've been offering since January, and it really gets the listing more views, more saves. Zillow sends out the listing automatically to people who've been searching for that house, so it goes to them directly. So that has been really valuable and something that only a few brokerages in town have access to the discounted rate to do that, and we are one.
That's cool. How much is that?
$200.
Per house?
Yes.
Okay. It's just a one-time fee?
Wait, it's $200. Yes, you pay Irongate $200, and then you pay, you have to get the Zillow tour. And so I pay, my photographer doesn't do the Zillow tour, so Seth Bobosh takes a lot of pictures for Irongate agents. He does the Zillow tour for $100. So it's $300 total.
Still, that's pretty cool. And I mean,
Yeah.
if it helps the house sell faster, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, yeah. But, price, condition, location are the three reasons a house sells or doesn't sell. So trying to get it in the best condition. If it can't be in the best condition, I have one listed now that's an estate where it's honestly not great. So we just compensated in the price.
Yeah.
Not trying to ask top dollar for something that needs every surface redone. So again, having hard, honest conversations will help get a house sold.
Yeah, just recently I went on a listing appointment for somebody who had a for sale by owner, and they had it listed for $660,000, and I ran comps very intricately because I knew it's a for sale by owner. They'd probably done some decent research on it, or at least you hope they did.
Right.
And came back with a price closer to $520,000.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was pretty sure of that number, and I went to go talk to them, and they didn't really have a way to justify their price, but they thought it was worth $100,000 more than it was worth at least. You ever run into a situation like that, or?
Yes, a lot. I mean, I think a lot of times sellers think a house should be worth what they owe on it, or how much money they put into it, or how much they need to pay off their credit cards. None of that matters. So again, having that education moment with the sellers to say, a house is worth what somebody's willing to pay, and that's based on these comps that I'm showing you. When I first started, like I said, it was 2009, so from 2009 until at least 11, probably 12, many conversations I was having at the kitchen table with sellers was, hey, we do a net sheet, and I would say, okay, good news is you only have to bring $10,000 to closing to sell your house. And that was a pretty normal conversation. Of course, that's not the one we're having today. And knowing how to communicate with the seller to make them feel okay about that. And a lot of it was, many of those sellers were military families and had lived in the home for a few years. And of course, there was no appreciation, and they were going to have expenses. So just helping them calculate, hey, if you would have rented for the past 3 years, you would have been out of pocket X number of dollars. So this $10,000 is really kind of a savings if you look at it that way.
Yeah. I've tried to have that conversations with a couple people I've talked to on the phones who are looking to rent something, especially nowadays when rent is about the same as a mortgage. You might as well see if you can own the house, because at least then you're keeping some of the money instead of just giving it all to the landlord.
Right. No, absolutely. That's a great approach. My craziest story was I listed a house, I think it was in 2013, that had been on the market with 4 different agents since 2006. So for 7 years, they had left it vacant. They traveled back and forth from North Carolina to winterize it every year and de-winterize it. It was pink and green. Once I take something on, I'm like, I'm going to finish this. So I'm tenacious. I got the house under contract with a buyer that I was representing. And then lo and behold, when we turned the water back on, 27 pipes burst inside this house because the sellers had not winterized it correctly all 7 years that they'd driven back and forth, and was able to keep that together. And I just looked this week, and they still live there, my people I sold it to. So,
Very cool.
yeah. I think the key to being successful in real estate is really being a problem solver. And every day there's some new issue that comes up. And so it's a matter of being the one to not be emotional in the transaction, to talk to experts, whether it's title or mortgage or whatever it is, to try to find a creative solution to get everybody to the closing table. I am not an agent who's going to throw in the towel or cancel a deal based on principle. No, people wanted to buy the house for a reason. Let's figure out how to get them to the closing table. And that's how I encourage everybody to approach their business.
I had a problem-solving situation where I was helping a buyer, and the people selling the house were selling their house using the funds to buy a new one. And the funds, or the house that they were buying, had a tree fall on it, like a day or two before closing. They were like, oh, well, we'll just wait until they deal with that before we move in. Like, closing's coming up. These people don't have anywhere to go, and you don't have it in the contract that it's contingent upon you buying that, so we got to figure something out.
Right.
So I worked with the listing agent, and I'll just say, with no help at all from them, the only way to keep it together, I ended up paying for the sellers to have a hotel for a day or two so that they had somewhere to live until they got the tree cleared out. But we closed on time. Everybody was happy.
Okay, that's good. And those people, your clients, will remember that you did that.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully the seller's agent didn't take credit for it because they didn't do anything. But
Right.
I tried. I did my best with it. It was one of those situations where you don't want to end up putting somebody, you don't want to make somebody homeless, even if it's not somebody you're helping still.
Right. No, absolutely. I had one time where my poor kids got recruited to go to a listing. Was not my listing. I had people moving into the house, a big house in Bellbrook, and the sellers had not moved out. So my boys got sent over and like, guys, you're helping these people get everything out of the house. That's what we did. So
here's what I always ask agents, because people don't really understand how we get paid and how that works. What's the longest you've ever went without a paycheck?
when I first started real estate. So when I first got my license, that was June of '09. I think my first closing was in October or November. That's my other encouragement story. So again, the market was hard, and it's not that I didn't have business. I had listings, but listings weren't selling. I had some opportunities, and it got to the point where I was just like, I don't think I can do this. Like, this is a ton of work and a ton of stress, and I haven't made a dime. And I remember I was in my kitchen. I just laid down on the floor, curled up in a ball. I was crying. My then husband was in the middle of the woods with no cell service. I called his phone, left a voicemail that I knew he wouldn't get until, he got out of the woods. But, it's picking yourself up after those moments. And, I think real estate it's cyclical. And there have been plenty of times through the years where I was certain I was never going to sell another house. Like, well, that's it. My success is gone. No more business. And maybe there's been a lull, but then it comes back. It does. So I tell people, you just have to keep doing what you're doing, ride through it, and it'll get better.
Yep. Very true. I've definitely had those moments where I thought, like, I don't know about this, and then something happens. Like, okay, it is a thing. It just, like you said, it's cyclical, time of year. Very few people want to move a couch or a fridge in the snow. And just, people still sell them then. Or people still sell in the winter, but not as often.
Yeah, well, that's a good question too. Sellers always ask, should I wait until the spring? Or buyers ask, should I wait until the spring when there are more houses? What I tell people is that people move because of life things. They move because they get married or divorced or have a baby or get a new job or somebody dies. And those things don't just happen in the spring. They happen all year long. And inevitably, on Thanksgiving, I'm in the master bathroom on the phone trying to deal with some real estate thing, or Christmas Eve, and people are calling. So I tell people, move when it makes sense for your life circumstance and not try to time the market. On the buyer side, sure, there are going to be more houses in the spring, especially here where there's a military PCS cycle, but there are also more buyers in the market, so you're going to have more competition.
Makes sense. That's good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
And you're right, life stuff just kind of happens when it happens, and people move all year round.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. The only thing I warn people about in the wintertime is it's really hard to see if a roof is any good
Well,
because
that's
there's
true.
snow on it.
And you can't test the AC.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't see the landscaping.
So as long as they're aware of that when they go into it, they're usually okay with it. But
Yeah.
that is definitely something I try to bring up to people when we're looking at stuff.
Right.
And they get their home inspection. They're like, everything's perfect. Like, it is. Keep in mind, those two things may come up. So just have a plan for that if it does.
Right. Good advice.
I find that a lot of people, they really just get annoyed if they get blindsided by something.
Right.
As long as you warn them that it's a possibility, they can plan for it, it's okay.
Yes.
Have you ever done any commercial deals?
So I am a big believer that commercial real estate and residential real estate are two different animals entirely. Commercial real estate it can be very complicated. You have to be specialized in the municipalities and their guidelines and EPA rules and zoning, all sorts of things that I don't know about because I specialize in selling residential homes. So my whole career, I've always referred commercial business to somebody who specializes in that. We do have a few agents here at Irongate who are resi-mercial, who do both. I admire them. I think most of them kind of do residential more on the side and commercial more as their focus, which I think is good because even more so than residential real estate, every commercial transaction is going to be very different. And the other thing is, in commercial real estate, you're looking at 9 months to a year for a paycheck on many deals. And so commercial agents kind of work in that cycle instead of our normal 30 to 45 days or a few months.
Yeah. I was looking into commercial for a second just because it was always interesting to me. I do still think it's interesting, but it's definitely, like you said, it's its own animal. They have their own terms and their own or their own way of doing things that we just don't have in residential, and there's a lot less standardization, it seems like, especially with like leases on leases on commercial spaces.
Yes.
Or retail spaces. That's the word I
Right.
was looking for. Like, doesn't seem like there's a lot of like, oh, this is the lease you need to know. It's everyone has their own, and you need to
Correct.
negotiate the terms.
Yes, and lawyers are often involved in writing things, and you can be really good at that. I think you need to specialize in that in order to call yourself a commercial agent.
What I would like to do is team up on a very specific type of commercial deal with a commercial agent, because I do a lot of jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
And it seems like anytime anyone gets close to getting their like black belt, they're like, I need to open a school. Can you help me find a place to lease? And like,
Okay.
I know a little bit about that, but it'd be nice to actually get somebody who knows what they're doing, team up with them, have them actually make sure it's done right.
Right.
Because it is something I'd like to do.
Yeah.
But everything else, like, you want to buy a factory
Gas
house.
station, right?
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much to that. There's environmental tests and things you need to know how to do, and so much to it.
Yeah.
So I do think that would be a fun thing to get into in the future, though. Next time somebody gets their black belt, I'll hit them up. Say,
You'll
"Hey."
be ready.
Yeah. Do you have any books you recommend or any podcasts for people? Anything you like, real estate or otherwise?
The Go-Giver is a book that really influenced me. I'm very much about taking care of people and clients, especially. I gave that book to one of our agents, Peter Davies, in the Kettering office, who used to be at my former brokerage, and he really felt strongly that it impacted his attitude towards selling as well. So I would say that's the one. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but none of them are real estate. I'm just to be honest, I have
Are you
enough.
a true crime person?
I'm not a true crime person. A lot of like Mel Robbins, self-help kind of stuff.
Okay. Like motivational things?
Yes, yeah. But no, not the real estate.
Listen to any funny ones?
Probably not anything you'd be interested in. No.
I'm listening to one right now that my girlfriend turned me on to. It's called Dungeons and Daddies. It's a D&D podcast where these people are role-playing dads that got sent into the D&D realm, and they're trying to save their kids, and it's pretty funny.
Okay. I'll have to recommend that one to one of my kids. Is a big D&D dungeon master, all that stuff. So He'd probably enjoy it. Doesn't have kids, but he'd probably enjoy that.
So what do you do when you're not doing real estate? Hobbies, interests?
I'm most of the time doing real estate, I will tell you. But I do like to travel to see my kids. I have one in New York City and one an hour north of Chicago. So those are both fun places to visit. And my daughter this year was in Paris studying and then traveling around Europe. So I got to visit her once in France and once in Italy. So that was nice. Like I said before, I do not have great work-life balance between selling real estate and running the company. That's what I do. I love it, or else I wouldn't do it. But
Makes sense.
yeah,
So
I like to go to nice restaurants. Does that count as a hobby?
Yeah, I
And
think so.
drink wine?
favorite kind of restaurant? Italian?
I don't have a favorite kind, but I do like going to locally owned restaurants. And when we do our top 50 lunches, we try to rotate it to locally owned or new spaces in the Dayton area. So just support local business. That's one of our main, since we are an independent brokerage, that's one of our big selling points is we are hyper local.
Definitely. Yeah, I've lived in Ohio most of my life. I was actually born in England.
Okay.
I was only there till I was like 3 months old. And we came back down here or something. So I don't remember anything about that. But it was kind of all it really did was make my birth certificate more complicated than it needs to be.
Right.
But I was born on an American Air Force base over there. We moved back over here, so it was still have an American birth certificate. But other than that, I lived in Oklahoma for like 3 years.
Okay.
I was from like 2013 to 2016. Then I moved back here. That really made me appreciate Ohio.
Okay. I haven't been to Oklahoma, and that's one I've not been to.
There's not much there.
Okay.
Lots of red dirt and tornadoes.
Tornadoes, yeah. Yeah. I lived in, after college, I moved to New Mexico, and then Arizona, and then back to Ohio, and then to Virginia, to Alabama, and then back to Ohio. So
All that just because of military?
The first one was not. I moved to New Mexico just because I was hard-headed and wanted to go. But then after that, it was military.
Interesting. Why New Mexico?
Oh, I was following a guy.
Oh, gotcha.
You know, it didn't work out. It's fine.
I hear you. That's I moved to Oklahoma for a job, but I moved out there with a lady that didn't end up working back and moved back here without her. So
Yeah. Everything happens for a
understand.
reason.
exactly.
Yeah. So,
It all builds the experience to get you to where you need to go in the end.
absolutely.
So what's next for you career-wise? It seems like you've already kind of done everything.
Right. I don't know that there's any goal beyond this. I mean, I'm close-ish to retirement age. You know, that's probably the next step, but that's probably 10 years away at this point. So in the near future, I would really like to grow Irongate to, I feel like Steve and Greg entrusted this company and this brand to me, and I want to stay true to that. Just improve it and make it a great experience for agents and for clients.
Very cool. You don't seem like the retire type. Do you think you'd
No.
actually just work a little bit less and call that retirement, or what would you do?
Probably, because I don't know exactly what I would do with myself if I weren't doing something with real estate.
My dad and my mom retired. My mom seems fine hanging out on the couch watching TV and playing with the cats, but my dad he has to keep busy. So he's either, he might be playing golf or working in the garden. He started volunteering at a cat shelter
Okay.
called 10th Life, and he goes out there all the time and just works for free.
It's on Indian Ripple.
Yep.
It's right across from where I live. Yes, I know where it is. Okay. I've not seen it, but I do know the location.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool place. I've been in there, and they seem like really good people that just really like helping cats.
Like cats. Okay. Good.
But yeah, he can't sit still. He's always doing that.
Yeah.
He's in his 70s right now, and any excuse he can get to get on a ladder and do something, he does. I don't know what it is about him and ladders. It's his favorite thing in the world.
Right.
Very cool. I'm out of questions.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully you found something usable.
Yeah,
in
for
this.
sure. I appreciate you coming out. I absolutely appreciate you guys having the studio. This is really cool.
Good. I'm so glad you're using it because Brett took so much time and effort putting it together, and then not many people were using it. So
I can't believe it. That was one of the things that sold me on the company. I was looking around. I was like, that's cool. I love how the splits are working here compared to where I was. I like the resources. Everyone seems nice. And I see this. I'm like, that's cool. I had a hard time coming up with social media content. It's not something I was good at. I was like, hey, this is great. I can do a whole podcast and chop it up and use it forever.
very good. Yeah. Well, keep doing it. Tell other people about it.
Definitely.
Love to have more agents. So
For sure. I offered to help anybody who wants to know how it works. It took me a day or two of YouTube videos to figure out how all the switches and things and get the timing right and get the cameras to actually move over when you start talking. But I got it. So
I'm
yeah,
impressed.
If you run into anybody who wants help, let me know. I'll show them.
Perfect.